Welcome to Movies Are Life. I'm your host, Nathan Chandler, and I'm a Barbie guy living in a Barbie world, I guess. So I love when movies take over the world of pop culture, and this past weekend was definitely one of those moments. This will be a short episode because I was able to see Barbie this past weekend, and I just really thought it'd be fun to do a quick reaction podcast and talk about it. And of course, I always want to bring in somebody to talk about said movies. And so I'm thrilled to welcome in a Norman friend of mine, Ann Schafer. How are you, Ann?
Hi, I'm doing great. How are you? I should say hi, Barbie.
Yeah. I thanks for jumping into this conversation on such short notice. But like many people on social media this weekend, it seemed to be lit on fire with people like indulging in this phenomenon that is Barbenheimer.
Yes,
And so
exactly.
I haven't gotten to see a chance to see Oppenheimer yet. I really, really want to, and hopefully we get to cover that movie sometime soon. But over the weekend, I saw that you endured 5 hours worth of movies.
I
So,
did, and I did. I did Barbenheimer, did Barbie first, then Oppenheimer, and honestly, I gotta tell you, I saw Barbie again. So I have now seen Barbie twice.
that's crazy. So I think it's just so interesting because, I mean, obviously, I love movies, and I can't think of two polar like opposite movies. So
Right.
like what do you before we actually talk, and this will definitely talk about Barbie, but I just want to get your opinion of like I wonder why people it's been in the movie world this weekend has been talked about quite a bit. But
Right.
the whole concept of people seeing the two movies on the same day, it just blows my mind that this happened. Why do you think that is, or like what made you want to venture into this? Uh,
Yeah. That's a great question. Honestly, I think a lot of people are like, oh, well, they're coming out on the same day. So it just kind of makes sense to see both. But I truly think it has something to do with the polarity of both of these movies that you have this like pink and bubbly and, you know, bright colored movie, and then you have Oppenheimer, which is very dark and twisted and all these things, and just the dichotomy of those two just interacting with each other, I thought was like, you know what, this is gonna be fun. It's gonna be a whole weekend. And once the memes picked up and everything, I kind of committed because I was always going to be a Barbie girl, but I was like, you know what, Christopher Nolan is a genius, we love him, and also so is Greta Gerwig. So, it was just going to be a win-win. We have two great directors,
yeah,
and I like going to the movies. So why not I took a day off of work and we planted ourselves at the movies for a solid 5 hours straight, and it was awesome.
that's amazing. Yeah, honestly, I don't think Oppenheimer would have the success as much if Nolan's name wasn't attached to it,
Sure.
because usually, a movie about the father of the atomic bomb doesn't scream like summer blockbuster.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it definitely, I think, rode on the back of the brilliant marketing of Barbie. Before,
absolutely.
I was doing some Googling before we hit record on this. And like, when you go to Google and type in Barbie, like pink fireworks like go off, and it's
Oh, I
like,
had no idea. I love that.
it's like, oh my gosh. They've done an amazing job of marketing this film.
Yeah.
And I even, maybe because I kind of saw it, and I don't know if my girls saw it anywhere also, but so Whitney was out of town this weekend, and she's still very mad at us that we
Yeah.
all went to see
I
this
can't
movie.
believe you went without her.
Yeah. But the girls, I mean, I didn't even say anything, but they were like, we're gonna dress in pink, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that awesome, that's a great idea. And then they're like, you need to wear a pink shirt, and I was like, okay. And so it's just we were really sad that the theater we went to didn't have any kind of, yeah, I saw some people taking it like pictures in the life size box. There was no
Sure.
setup like that, so we were a little disappointed by
Oh,
that. But
yeah.
Hey Barbie, can I come to your house tonight?
Sure. I don't have anything big planned, just a giant blowout party with all the Barbies and planned choreography and a bespoke song. You should stop by.
So cool.
Barbie, came out this summer, 2023. It's a fantasy comedy film directed by Greta Gerwig and written by Gerwig and Noah Baumbach. Based on the Barbie fashion dolls by Mattel, it is the first live-action Barbie film after numerous computer-animated direct-to-video and streaming television films. I have to take a quick little pause there.
You're good.
I don't know if you ever seen any of the Barbie shows?
No, actually, you know what? People have asked me that a lot, and I was like, I haven't actually seen any of like the animated ones. I see clips of them on like TikTok and whatnot, but I hadn't, seen any of them. I might have seen them when I was younger, but I have no recollection. I was more focused on playing with the Barbies than watching
Yeah,
them.
yeah. So like, my girls haven't watched them in a long time, and also I'll say they're not necessarily like huge Barbie fans, and
Sure.
we can talk about that a little bit. But the show is like existed on Netflix, and they're like almost like short little 10-minute episodes and vignettes and stuff. They're
Gotcha.
actually, as far as like kids entertainment goes, very, very funny. Like it
Oh, I love
always,
that.
yeah, it had this very dry sense of humor. And I think I can't help but think that Gerwig maybe like saw some of these to get like a tone she could go for. But
Little
anyway,
inspired,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but if people don't know, this film stars Margot Robbie as Barbie and Ryan Gosling as Ken, and follows the two on a journey of self-discovery following an existential crisis. The film
Yeah.
also features an ensemble cast. So over the weekend, it gained $162 million in its first weekend of release. Barbie also marks the biggest debut ever for a film directed by a woman, which is really, really cool. I guess like what made you want to see this movie?
Yeah, I'm a Barbie girl through and through. So I grew up playing with Barbies, like all my neighbors. I mean, everybody played Barbies with me. I've been a Barbie girl forever. And then fun fact about me is that I also collect Barbie ornaments. So my Christmas tree this year is going to be very trendy because I literally, watching, you're talking about the marketing earlier. I was watching Margot Robbie on the red carpet and I was like, oh, I have that Barbie in an ornament. I have that outfit in an ornament. So we'll have to wait till December, but my tree is going to be very very on brand for this year. But yeah, I love Barbie. I love the cast that they have. I love Greta as a director, and so as soon as I heard there was going to be a Barbie movie, you didn't have to tell me who was in it, but I was like, yeah, I'm in. Count me in for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I knew because I've been a big fan of Greta's, and then because we're on a first name basis and everything.
Right.
But yeah, but also Noah Baumbach. I haven't
Mhm.
seen all his films, but I really like, even though maybe some of his movies don't completely work all the time, I always like his tone and like what he's going for. And
Yeah.
I was like, when it first was announced that they were the ones doing this movie, I was very perplexed. Not so much for Greta's end, but definitely Baumbach's end, because his
Yeah.
movies are usually pretty serious and deep. But but I really don't know why I doubted them, because I really liked this movie a lot.
Yeah.
And almost so much so because I've loved comedies, and I think people are almost discounting I mean, everybody says like so how funny this movie is, but I think it's also very challenging in a lot of ways. And I think people have forgotten about how hard it is to create a movie like that, but also a movie that people collectively find funny.
Right.
That's really hard to do these days, I think.
Yeah, especially with like the social commentary of it all. I think that some people can get really like, oh, can I laugh at this or can I not, about those types of movies? But I think Greta Gerwig was on point when she said that she really wanted to make a film for everyone, that everyone would enjoy, because they have some high level jokes in there that you might not understand unless you're like thinking about this work and talking about cognitive dissonance and some other things. But
Yeah.
they also have some really basic, just funny things that happen that really anybody can enjoy, and also kind of starts a conversation for all ages to think about. I a friend of mine said their kid walked out and was like, what's the patriarchy? Asking that question as they walked out, and it's like, well, that's going to start a conversation for sure. And so
Yeah.
it's nice to have that kind of in a presented in a fun way, but also adding to that deepness and that depth of the content as well.
Yeah. So Whitney's parents joined us on this adventure, which added to the layer of her being mad at me that we went and saw
The
this.
whole family, but you.
Yeah, she was out of town. So, but like, even afterwards, we were talking about it, and her dad was like, "Man, they really went into some like deep things there." And I said, "Yeah," I said, "I almost feel like we have just like left a college course about gender dynamics, but
Yeah.
it was taught by the coolest professor you know."
Right.
Does that make
Oh my
sense?
gosh, absolutely. Well, it's funny. I'm actually teaching a Intro to Women and Gender Studies course this fall, and I'm scrapped the syllabus. It's going to center around Barbie because I think it's a really, I want to be cool like that, to really have those conversations and really that really starting that like thing of like, oh, this is like able for everybody to understand about how things impact them, and the world impacts them if you look at it from a different lens.
Right. And I mean, I enjoy that they I mean, it's actually pretty shocking. I feel like that such a big corporation, and Mattel is a corporation, was,
Right.
allowed basically these filmmakers to have the stance that they have and be basically unapologetic about it. But also I think I honestly think this like in a respectful way. And even if maybe I can see a lot of people definitely not agreeing with a lot of the viewpoints, but even me myself, who I consider myself a feminist, and
Yeah.
this movie actually challenged me in a lot of ways, even being a male, and just being
Yeah.
like, just kind of calling myself out on just a thought process on a lot of just the things that I naturally go to because of the world that we live in.
Right. Yeah, I think that was really interesting because I know I saw a lot of commentary prior to me seeing it from some, right wing conservative people who have viewed it, said it's very anti men and, really kind of teaches things. And I thought it was the exact opposite. I think
Yeah.
it talked about, how patriarchy is also harmful to men. And I think one of the most interesting things that I saw recently when I was scrolling on TikTok was this idea that, not to spoil things in the movie, but when women are in charge, they just want everybody to be able to live how they want to live. But when men are in charge, they're asking women to do things for them. And so it's this like weird thing of like, oh, people, view this like all women leadership as like, well, that's, reverse sexism or some other, term. But in actuality, when they were running, Barbie Land, it was, everybody got to do what they wanted to do and could exist as they were. And it was not the same when the Kens took over.
Yeah, I didn't view it as anti-male at all, but more so just, basically I liked it because the movie, like, Greta Gerwig is taking this concept and she's challenging us, but instead of just like throwing it out there with all the problems, it's like,
Right.
hey, we've called it out. So where are you going to go from here? And
Yeah.
that's what I liked about it. I didn't think it was like anti-male at all.
I think the
Yeah.
exact opposite. Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
think it really kind of showed the ways that people, even Ken didn't want to be in that kind of world where he wanted to figure out who he was by himself and not as an attachment to somebody else.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, exactly what you said. It's just the movie celebrates tapping into the things that make you the person that you are, and
yeah,
defining yourself that way versus who your partner is, no matter who,
right.
no matter what side you're on. And so that's why,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just, yeah, to me, I just think that's really fun. But I just, if anything, I mean, it's poking. I think it pokes fun at females just as much as males.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it definitely has that conversation of like, the idea of stereotypical Barbie and like what she is, and like, but at the same time, like it really kind of unpacks like the societal expectations. But like you said, it kind of starts a conversation that people are gonna think about after they're done with Barbie. And if they think that it's shallow or too deep or whatever opinions they have, it means that they didn't really pay attention. I think it's funny. People are talking about like, oh, like I'm gonna treat this like film bros treat Fight Club. It's like, oh, I know you saw the movie. If you just say you didn't like it, you just really didn't understand it. And kind of having that mindset, which is the kind of the energy I'm going to take through the rest of time. So
Yeah, quickly, I want to talk about the performances because
yeah,
I mean, I thought, I mean, great cast all around, but
absolutely.
yeah, but definitely Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling, I think, do an amazing job. Like, so good.
Yeah.
Did you like the performances?
I did. It was interesting because I think a lot of people had some questions about Ken being too old to play, like with Ryan Gosling being too old to play Ken, which I think is so funny because it also, that's usually what women get when they're cast as like, oh, they're too old to play, a hot, attractive, whatever it may be. And so the fact that that was kind of turned on Ryan Gosling, I thought was really interesting. But Margot Robbie, wow, she I haven't seen a lot of things she's in. I'm not like a big Wolf of Wall Street or things like that. But
Yeah.
what you could tell that the kind of shift from when she was just stereotypical Barbie and had that kind of like, I would say like kind of vapid like attitude towards things, to where she really kind of got that acknowledgement of like having feelings and emotions and what the world was. But I think the standout performance has to be America Ferrera, because I kind of forgot she was in the movie. I saw her on the press tour, but I didn't see her a lot in trailers. And so when she came in, and obviously her monologue in the middle is going to be unpacked, but I think that we talk a lot about like, oh, Ryan Gosling is really getting a lot of things for his performance as Ken, but I think the women took it home. I think Margot Robbie and America Ferrera really shined like throughout the whole thing, and really kind of showed some really excellent acting.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Margot Robbie, I've actually probably seen a lot of the stuff that she's done. She was recently in Babylon, which is, I will definitely say, not a movie for everyone. But regardless of what you would come out of that movie, regardless of how you feel about it, is that she was amazing in it. And then she was awesome in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and like almost anything that I've seen her in, she does great. And I think a lot was put on her, in this, and she's always done like comedic beats in other films before, but I mean, this is definitely a comedy, but there are some genuinely like kind of, I would say, heartbreaking moments. And
absolutely, I cried.
And when she's crying on screen, like it's a genuine moment. It's not meant like for laughs and stuff like that.
Right.
And yeah, it's pretty incredible that they kind of went up and down, like, with this roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I definitely cried a lot. It was like, I think, everybody's like, oh, it's bubbly, it's fun. But oh man, I was sobbing at the end, and the music and the montage towards the end of all the family and friends of the cast and crew was just, it was beautiful. It's moving. So
yeah, definitely. Well, definitely high praise from us. I think we did a really good job talking about this movie without actually talking about like specific scenes.
I'm trying not to spoil it. I know.
Or spoil it or anything like that. So I highly recommend it. I rate movies from a 1 to 5 star scale. What would you rate this movie?
5. I gotta tell you that I added it to my letterbox favorite movies immediately after seeing it. I was like, this is number 1, so I would give it a 5.
Well, you're on Letterboxd. I can't believe we're like don't follow each other. Oh, okay. Sure. Okay, I'll have to find you on there. But yeah, I'm the same as well. I feel like with any comedies, they become a little easier to nitpick, I think, sometimes, because tapping into like, everybody has a different sense of humor and like what makes them laugh and stuff like that. But like I mentioned earlier, I think to pull off what they did with this, like as a comedy, and it made me really happy as a dad with younger kids that this type of movie was out for them. And and even though they probably didn't get everything that this movie is unpacking, it's at least, it really is. It's cliche to say, but you leave the theater with you kind of see the world a little differently, I think, after seeing this movie. So, I mean, I won't be able to see like, I think, a stallion in the same way, or if the
the whole idea of horses is kind of ruined.
yeah. I will say I've never personally thought about horses that much. I'm actually kind of afraid of horses, but definitely some of the things that they touch on as far as The Godfather and other things like that.
Oh my gosh, Godfather!
Yeah, it's great stuff. So, well, anything else you want to add before we sign off?
Oh my gosh. All I say was that just Barbie was better than Oppenheimer. Well, Oppenheimer was great. Barbie took the cake for me, and I think everybody should see it, no matter what you live life as. I think that it's enjoyable for literally everybody.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, hopefully next week I really do want to try to see Oppenheimer, because I had several people I haven't even talked to in a while text me going like, have you seen it yet?
I know, you're the movie guy. You gotta tell us.
I know, it's like and so maybe we'll touch on it like we did like with this podcast next week. If I don't get to it, we have While You Were Sleeping sitting in the wings, so that episode will come out. So anyway, it'll be one of those, but we'll see what what I can get to in life and everything.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you so much for doing this.
Of course.
Yeah, this was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. Thank you for having me.